Hello everyone and welcome back to Deciphering Weather. In today's video, both Tropical Storm Nadine and Oscar Form from NWS 94L and 95L. If you like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get all of my upcoming videos. So we're looking at the latest satellite image of the Atlantic Basin thanks to tropicaltidbits.com for Saturday, October 19th, 2024. The purple arrow is Tropical Storm Nadine getting ready to make landfall with Belize as I'm making this video. We have newly formed Tropical Storm Oscar just to the east of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Then we have a non-tropical low moving south towards Bermuda in pink. And then we have two tropical waves out in the middle of the main development region in blue and maroon. Here's their vorticity signature of all of our tropical and non-tropical lows that we're tracking. As you can see, Nadine and Oscar are finally formed circular in nature. And then we have our non-tropical low going across Bermuda. And then we have two tropical waves that we have to monitor as they have circular vorticities as well, just in case they want to try and develop if they find a favorable environment. Here's our close-up view of Tropical Storm Nadine as it's on approach to making landfall with Belize. And you can see it's got a very well-defined structure now compared to just 24 hours ago. And if we look at the latest 24-hour loop of our microwave background, you can see how it rapidly organized over those last 24 hours from just NWS 95L into Nadine. Here's the projected path of the storm. It's got winds of 50 miles per hour moving west at 8 miles per hour. And it's if it survives over crossing the Central America and Mexico peninsula here, it will maintain the name Nadine as it gets into the Eastern Pacific Basin. But it's forecasted to dissipate and become a remnant. And because of that, the Eastern Pacific side says it's got a 10% chance over the next 2 days and 80% chance over the next 7 days of reforming into another tropical system, which would gain the name Tropical Storm Christie in the Eastern Pacific. Here's the spaghetti track guidance model showing where this storm could go over the next few days. And while in the Eastern Pacific Basin, could even reach Category 1 or 2 strength. So as we spoke, it's a very compact storm where the tropical storm force winds are. So it's mostly concentrated to the northern portions of Belize and then into the southern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And it's going to be bringing a ton of rainfall, as you can see from the simulated radar from the HWRF model. So in terms of rainfall totals, anywhere in the yellows, we're talking 100 to 150 millimeters of precipitation. And then we have two hot spots of dark orange just to the north of Belize in the Yucatan Peninsula, where we could see 200 to 300 millimeters. And then the mountains outside of Veracruz from orographic lift as this storm moves westward, kind of similar to what we saw, but not as devastating with Helene when it moved up towards the Appalachian Mountains in the southeast United States. Same principle, orographic lift. So we could see upwards of 12 inches, 300 millimeters of precipitation there. So let's hope we don't see any catastrophic flooding like we saw in southern Appalachia. Here's the key messages from the National Hurricane Center regarding Nadine. So on the left is in English and on the right is in Spanish. And then here we have newly formed Tropical Storm Oscar as I was making this video. So I had to edit this a little bit and take a little bit longer to take out. But here it is, very compact storm moving westward towards the Turks and Caicos and the eastern tip of Cuba before it eventually turns to the northeast. Here's the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Center. We have winds of 40 miles per hour moving west at 13. As you can see, it's going to be moving towards Cuba and then do a about face and then head northeast towards the island of Bermuda. Here's the spaghetti track guidance model showing where Oscar can go and the strength of the storm over the next 7 days, pretty much staying right around the same strength it is now. maybe slightly stronger. In terms of rainfall totals, eastern Cuba could see upwards of 100 to 150 millimeters of precipitation. Southern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos up to 50 to the 100 millimeters. Key messages for Oscar are here. Left is in English, on the right is in Spanish. You can pause to take a chance to read this. So here we go, using the GFS model, and we'll see where all of our systems will go over the next 7 days, as well as our non-tropical low in pink, and then our 2 tropical waves out in the main development region in blue and maroon, since black and purple are Oscar and Nadine. So here we have the 200 millibar level of the atmosphere where jets fly. The black arrows pointing towards, on the left, the upper level subtropical jet that's going to be preventing Nadine and Oscar from entering the Gulf of Mexico. So Nadine will go south of it and into the Pacific Basin. Oscar will then do a about face and go northeast into the northern Atlantic. And then the second black arrow in the middle, bottom of your screen, is an upper level trough, which is providing a lift mechanism right now for our tropical waves to try and develop out here. But what's likely going to occur is they're going to run into the high wind shear environment and not have a chance of developing out in this part of the middle of the Atlantic. But we do have some good moisture with those systems, so we'll keep an eye on it just in case. Then we're going to see 2 days from now on Monday, October 21st, Nadine has moved across the Central America and is now redeveloping in the Eastern Pacific Basin. Most likely will gain the name Christie because of that. We see Oscar is moving towards Cuba as forecasted, and our non-tropical low is just to its north. Those two will interact with each other after this and then pull Oscar towards north along with that subtropical jet. And we see our 3 tropical waves, another one in red right behind blue, where we are seeing lack of development because of the high wind shear environment. And we are losing our left mechanism, so we're not having that ability to create a low pressure system really. Even though one of our waves does have a low wind shear environment with a ton of moisture still to work with. So 4 days from now on Wednesday, October 23rd, and we see that Nadine, now in purple on the bottom left of your screen, is going to be Tropical Storm Christie in the Pacific Basin. As on this model run, it doesn't maintain its core structure and has to redevelop. Oscar is interactive with that non-tropical low and re-strengthens on its approach towards Bermuda as a non-tropical system, maybe post-tropical at this point, as it starts to get blown apart by the upper level winds, and I'll show you that in a second. And we see our 2 tropical waves in blue and red are struggling to develop, even though they do have a good chunk of moisture with it. But there's also a cold front near the Azores Islands that could break off a piece of vorticity as well, that I have highlighted by our green hexagon. So here's the ton of moisture out in the Atlantic, just dry air really in the Gulf of Mexico and then near Africa. High wind shear environment around Oscar, so that's going to cause it to become extra tropical along with the upper level trough that's associated with it, turning it from tropical to extra tropical at this point. But you can see the lack of a lift mechanism in the upper level environment by our 2 tropical waves, which is why we do not see development from them. But 7 days from now, by next Saturday, October 26th, we do see our red tropical wave moving through Trinidad and Tobago, so we'll keep an eye on that as it tries to enter the Caribbean, which is more favorable this time of year for tropical development, as we've seen over and over with Milton, now Oscar and Nadine. And we'll see if that frontal boundary does consolidate a piece of vorticity near the Azores Islands, as this GFS model is suggesting. For comparison, here's the European model, showing pretty much the same thing. Our non-tropical low will interact with Oscar and then pull it northward. We see Nadine cross Central America and work its way into the Eastern Pacific, and our other tropical waves struggling to develop with maybe another piece of vorticity south of the Azores pinching off from a frontal boundary. So here's our ensemble models showing where all of our storms are going to be going over the next 7 days and how strong they can be. So Nadine's going to be making landfall with Belize and the rest of the Yucatan Peninsula later on today, bringing some heavy rainfall and then another batch of heavy rainfall near Veracruz, Mexico, thanks to orographic lift, and then moving into the Eastern Pacific Basin and likely gaining the name Christie if it doesn't maintain its core structure. We have Oscar moving towards the Turks and Caicos and eastern Cuba before moving through the Bahamas and then eventually maybe Bermuda later on next week. And we'll keep an eye on our tropical waves out in the main development region. So we can cross off Nadine and Oscar. Next name on the list to develop would be Patty. As a reminder, we have super thanks available on Deciphering Weather, so if you'd like to donate to the channel, please go down to the heart button where it says thanks. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and leave a comment. Please share this video with your family and friends on social media. And if anyone liked detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get all of my upcoming videos. Thank you and have a great day.